amount of dry time this evening. On Thursday, mix of clouds and sunshine, couple of showers, couple of thunderstorms, but again, a lot of dry time, 71. Scattered showers and thunderstorms Thursday night, 58. Friday, partly sunny. Nothing more than a spot storm on Friday, windy and near 80. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Cloudy sky, 60 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com traffic center.
Well, we still got this injury crash westbound 70 before the Blanchette Bridge. Only I guess it's the right lane, right center lane. It's hard to tell. They're sort of weaving through it, but that's the only lane open. Westbound 70 is a solid backup, pretty much from Lindbergh. Eastbound 70 is backed up. Cypress through air flight, but then it opens up. That crash we had eastbound at Natural Bridge has been cleared. Also, westbound 70 is slow. Riverview through Jennings Station as you leave the city. Northbound 170 from 70 up to Airport Road's heavy. South 170, that's a jam from the Parkway to 64. Westbound 64, Kings Highway headed out through McCausland's bumper to bumper, slow to about Big Bend and slow to a couple of spots west of 364 to 70. Southbound 270 is off the pace. South of 364 to Ladue. Clayton Road through Manchester and a little busy past 44. 44 is cleared out. Southbound 55 bogged down. Arsenal to Bates. Westbound 64 or 44 rather, past the Poplars busy. And eastbound 64 approaching 255 midway to 159 is slow. Next update at 520 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com traffic center.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Guys, welcome into Wednesday on the Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley is down in Jupiter. Kevin Wheeler with you here in St. Louis. We had a busy hour coming your way. Mostly baseball, but they're going to work some hockey in here at the very end of it. I mean, I'll mention it now, but there are reports that the Blues are trading Colton Parayko to the Buffalo Sabres. And the latest report I saw on it was that he still has to approve the deal. So we'll see if there's any news in that regard as we go along. But if the report from Darren Drager is accurate, it would be for last year's number 9 overall draft pick, Radim Murka, who is a 6'6", 220-pound puck-moving defenseman with some offensive ability, and also another number 1 pick. I would assume this year's first-round pick, and there are maybe other pieces involved. So we'll see what we can find out. We will save that for a little bit later on, but let's get things kicked off with our spring training report.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And by Happy Roof, we always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Man, it is the trading season for St. Louis professional sports teams. Cardinals made a bunch of deals in the offseason, none so far in the spring. Blues making deals. We have a lot to talk about. Matt's in Jupiter. Almost done, Matt. Few more days. Yeah. Get to get home and see the kids. Get home and hang out with us here in studio. But I know you've learned a lot, seen a lot, and obviously, with kicking things off on our spring training report, let us know what you've seen today.
Yeah, I don't think I learned anything today too much. They played Team Nicaragua because a bunch of WBC teams come out here and play exhibitions in front of the WBC. There was only one guy in the lineup who for sure is an opening day starter. That's Ivan Herrera. He was only in there because today was his day to go to 4 innings of catching. Outside of that, Nathan Church was in the lineup, but outside of that, it was all minor leaguers. To tell you how things went, the Cardinals actually lent minor leaguers to Nicaragua because they didn't have enough players to play the whole game. So the final couple innings, Team Nicaragua used Cardinals pitchers against the Cardinals, and their right fielder at the end of the game was a Cardinal. So there's just it's a game, but it wasn't really real baseball. Matthew Liberatore looked fine. Against that lineup, you should. He gave up a home run, but he was in his 4th inning of work, first starting pitcher to get to 4 innings, and he ran out a little bit of gas there in the 4th and gave up a home run. That ended up being the difference in the game. Jojo Romero looked great. Ryan Stanek looked great. Richard Fitz threw the final 3 innings and a piggyback, so he went out to 3 innings after he'd gone 2 his last time. He looked good, but again, you look at who you're playing and you try to figure out what's real, what's not real. The Cardinals can do things like go look at pitch shape and some other things to know how effective the pitches actually were. But from our vantage point, it looked good, but you can't really say for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what they're going to be evaluating on all those guys is not so much and this is true for batters too, right? Like the statistics don't tell you much.
No.
We've talked about this many, many times, but it's especially true in spring, and it's especially true when you're facing something less than a major league lineup, which is what the Cardinals pitchers were facing today. What matters a lot more is, okay, how is your fastball velo? How is it compared to you want it to be? Are you commanding it? So we called for this pitch to be, fastball in on the righty, and you didn't get it in there. We got to get that thing, like that. It's going to be a lot more fine than just whether you gave up 1 or 2 runs, and in fact, those outcomes can vary based on, hell, who's even playing the field for you, right?
Yeah.
Some guys are not major league caliber yet. So with guys like that, especially a guy like Richard Fitts, to me, the interesting stuff is, again, what's the stuff look like? His velocity seems to be really good right now. He seems to be getting swings and misses. Now, again, against minor leaguers, it's probably going to be the case, but the characteristics of the pitches look like they should.
Yeah, the velocity was not quite as extreme with him today. Let's see, where did he top out?
Yeah, I think it was like mid.
He topped out close to at 97.9, so that's just a little bit off, but he was sitting more. The sinker was sitting 96. The four-seamer was sitting 96 today. So that's a tick or two off from where he was at before. I did think it was interesting.
That's about his average from last year, too, by the way. He averaged just under 96 in the big leagues last year.
Yeah, and that's why we took note of what he did in that first appearance this spring, because it was definitely a tick up from what he did in the regular season last year. Ali actually talked after the game today about it's nice to see velocity at this point, but that's not actually one of their evaluating things. You're not yet deep enough into spring where they're overly worried about velocity. They're looking at other pitch characteristics at this point. That's going to change. Like at some point, velocity absolutely does matter. I'm not trying to be dismissive of velocity, but on March 4th, the Cardinals are less worried about that and more worried about other things.
Well, what's interesting to me, and one of the reasons I loved getting Fitts from Boston when that trade went down, Matt, is that, again, you have velo, which is always a starting point, but it's certainly not alone, right? If you look at his fastball value, it's only a little bit above average, even with that big velo. So obviously, to your point, there are other characteristics that matter. Off speed matters and all that. But what I really found fascinating about him is that he's one of those extension guys. So at 6'3", he gets down the mound, and that's a good thing because that actually creates even a little more perceived velocity. Right. The further you get down the mound, the faster it seems to be getting on him because it's being released closer to home. So it's actually traveling a shorter distance. But then also he gets chase. And I think that's an important thing too, is that the Cardinals have not had much in recent years when it comes to guys who get people to swing at pitches out of the zone, but he gets that.
He does. He also, Kevin, he took a 104 off the bat right on him today. And he immediately is given a thumbs up and saying he's fine, no problem. The training staff still came out and looked at him. But yeah, exit velocity 104, pegs him, I think, either in the hip or in the butt.
That's where you want to get hit with those.
It is. But you know what, Kevin? If somebody hits me in the butt with a 104 mile per hour ball off the bat, you're not going to see me for a couple days.
Oh, come on. You'd get back out there.
He's a tough guy, man. And I really like him. I really, really like him. I still feel like he's sort of on the outside looking in. I think Palante, but they're going to be in a 6-man rotation, but at some point it's going to go to a 5-man. And if they were to go to a 5-man right now, I don't think he'd be in it. But I hope that he does enough because I like his upside so much. I like his velocity. I like his makeup. There's a lot of things to really, really like about Richard Fitts.
Yeah, to me, and again, you and I both kind of agree on Palante. If it comes down to the choice between the two of them, if Fitts looks good, then my choice is Fitts. That's my choice. Obviously, I'm not the one making the call, but I know this guy has more upside because he misses bats. Yeah. And he gets swings out of the zone. And I look, neither is perfect, but if I had to pick between them, it's not going to be who's on scholarship because who's been here the longest. It's going to be who gives us the best looking stuff that we can project down the road.
And I don't think this is going to be a scholarship year. I think there were some scholarships thrown around last year, Kevin. I don't think that's happening this year. And if it does happen this year, the leash on it, I think it's going to be significantly shorter
Yeah.
than what it's been in previous years, especially when starting pitching is a great example because not only is it those 6 guys, it's Hunter Dobbins who's probably going to be healthy
Absolutely.
by the time
Now he's going to be he's going to be behind, but still he's a guy that's got some stuff too. Yeah.
Right. And it's going to be Quinn Matthews maybe at some point. It's going to be Liam Doyle maybe towards the end of the season, maybe. There's some other guys that could be
you got
Henderson, from AAA.
Motts. I mean, they've got plenty of now because of these deals. You now have plenty of depth at double and AAA.
Yeah,
you didn't have that last year, but because of the trades and some of the guys that were hurt now coming back, you're definitely in a better spot there. And look, we know this, Matt. Last year was a fluke. You're not going to run through with 5 starters all season long this year. You're definitely going to have to use 8 or 9 guys, and these guys are all going to get some run.
They are, and you're going to need a bunch of dudes, and that's why I'm happy that I think we're going to see 6 guys at the start of the season. So at least at that point, if it comes down to like Fitz or Palante, you're going to have a sample size from the big leagues to compare those two with.
Do you get the sense that if they go to 5 instead of 6 in the rotation, that whoever loses out, whether it be Palante or Fitz, is just in the bullpen in a long roll? I think
it depends on the guy
because they're going to have to protect Leahy some, right? I mean, you're going to need some people in the pen that can, because he's not going 6 or 7 very often. I wouldn't think, at least not early in the year.
Yeah, it's very much dependent on, like, if it's Palante, I don't think he has an option left, so he would have to be in the bullpen.
Right.
Where if it's Fitz, he does have an option. Do you send him to AAA so he can continue to work as a starter? So I think take it on a case-by-case basis. I don't think they have, like, this set in stone, whoever the 6th starter is, if it goes to a 5-man rotation, they're going to be doing X or Z. X or Y, whatever, A or B, whatever letters you want to use. I'm exhausted if you can't tell.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, Matty. We get the point either way.
Yeah.
I think this is not in any way a complaint because we've all talked about what this year is. Again, you're not necessarily working to win games. I'm not sure how much I need to see Richard Fitz at AAA. I mean, this guy's 26 years old. He's had some tastes of the big leagues. We know what the stuff looks like. I'm not saying you can't do it. That's not the point. Just I'm not sure you learn anything other than just buying time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they did with Michael McGreevy, and it's not an apples to apples here.
No, you're right though. That's a similar comp though. That's a similar comp though.
I don't think Michael McGreevy gained anything by a day of his AAA experience.
Right. He just got his work in.
Right.
And you do need that, right? I mean, you do need guys at AAA ready to jump in, and ideally more than one, because you don't know when an injury is going to fall, right? You don't know if it's going to be on the turn for the guy that you hope it would be or if it's going to be on turn for someone else. So having 2 or 3 of those guys gives you more of an option to play around.
And you know what I hate? You know what I really, really hate, Kevin? I hate the process of dude gets injured, you need a starter, you're bringing somebody out of the bull. You're bringing your long guy out of the bullpen because he's been a starter before, and he's kind of your de facto 6th starter. And it takes 3 or 4 starts to finally stretch him out. So during this period, you're playing behind the 8 ball in the bullpen because you just took a guy out of the bullpen. You're playing behind the 8 ball in the bullpen because this guy can't throw more than 3 or 4 innings in his first couple starts. So the bullpen usage, like, I hate that. I hate that so much. Have guys at AAA who can step into the rotation. If you see that something's going to be coming down the line and you think that 6th guy in the bullpen needs to start, find a way to get him to AAA to make a couple starts and stretch him out there. I know that can't always work, but geez, do I dislike that process.
That's Matt Pauley down in Jupiter. I'm Kevin Wheeler here in St. Louis. We got more cards coming your way in the next couple of segments. We'll get to some Blues later on. We haven't seen the deal finalized. But Darren Drager and others, Darren Drager of TSN and others reporting that the Blues are trading Colton Parayko to Buffalo for last year's number 9 overall pick, a 6'6" defenseman who's 220 pounds. Sounds a lot like Colton Parayko. He's just 18 and another first-round pick and maybe more. We'll get to that later in the show and hopefully have some finality to that. But let me tell you a little bit if you're thinking about getting into the real estate market this year and you're looking to sell a home. Because if you're looking to sell your home, in this market, the agent you choose really matters. You don't want to go with people who don't have proven track records, and you certainly don't want to take risks. Well, this is why I want you to call Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've had the really good fortune to get to know Gloria, to get to know how her systems work. And it's fascinating, really. As someone who has bought and sold homes quite a few times, I never knew any of these things. And it's such an edge. I wish I knew them in the past. But to simplify, she sells homes faster and for more than the average agent. I mean, it's just that simple. And part of the reason for that is Gloria has a database of thousands of buyers that are waiting to buy a home. So your home could already have its buyer waiting, but you won't know it if you don't call Gloria. So it's a simple process. You've got a couple of upfront written guarantees that are options for you. So here they are. Gloria will sell your home at a price and a time frame that's acceptable to you, or she will buy it herself. And your other option is that Gloria will sell your home at 100% of the market value, or she will pay you the difference. So when you're ready to sell your home here in the St. Louis area, do your homework and then call the expert. Call Gloria Lou. 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. You can also visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. And as always, seller and Gloria must agree on price and possession date.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, they're making headway on this crash, but they still have the right lane blocked westbound 70 before you get to the Blanchette Bridge. It is a solid jam back through Lindbergh right now on westbound 70. Southbound 270, the ramp lanes get onto westbound 70 or a solid jam back past the Rock Road. Northbound 170, Natural Bridge up to Airport Road's on the break. South 170 slows at Delmar, backed up from Brentwood to 64. Eastbound 64, heavy stuff from McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Kings Highway to Big Bend is slow. And then west of the Boulevard out to Prospect, kind of busy. Southbound 270 approaching Olive to Ladue. Both sides of Manchester, and a little slow approaching Gravois. Southbound 55, Gasconade Bates, some heavy traffic there. And eastbound 64 approaching 157 midway to 159. You have a roadwork slowdown. I'm Roger Brand at the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, it's Wednesday on Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter, but only for a couple more days. And then, of course, I'm here in St. Louis for the foreseeable future. Not going anywhere that I'm aware of. Just got off the road. Actually, I will be out in a couple of weeks for a short trip to Chicago, but that's not any time here in the next couple of weeks. So let's pick it back up, Matt. Just talking pitching and. Obviously, we're still waiting. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow because Dustin May is going to get into game action, get our first real good look from the outside. I know you guys have had a chance to see them, in bullpen sessions and maybe on the backfields, but that's a different vibe than being out there with the uniform on in front of television cameras.
Yeah, we'll still get a little bit of clubhouse time in the morning here tomorrow. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go to the clubhouse. I'm going to get back, and I can't wait to turn on my Cardinals TV and be able to watch the broadcast from Pittsburgh and see what Dustin May looks like in a game setting, because he has the highest ceiling probably for this. His 2026 ceiling is probably higher than any other ceiling in the rotation. And I just want to know what it's going to look like and start to get an idea on that.
Yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, I mean, he's an upper 90s sinker and potentially a real swing and miss sweeper when he's right. Now, again, he's still building back. He was not fully healthy last year. We've all outlined it. We've described the situation. with throat surgery, and how much how much weight he lost. That hurt his velocity, hurt his strength, his stamina, and now it sounds like that's all kind of settled.
Yeah, he's had a healthy offseason. He and the Cardinals have worked together, putting together this pitching plan for him that he's on. That's why he's starting a little bit late. He's a little bit older, and he knows what he needs to do here in spring to get ready. And I mean, we've seen a really, really good version of Dustin May in the past, and he's not an old guy by any stretch. He's had a couple injuries and a crazy, not like just life-threatening situation with the tear of his esophagus, and it finally seems like he's all the way back from that.
Absolutely. And then another guy we haven't seen yet, but we're coming up on it, is Riley O'Brien, who, if he's healthy, Matt probably has a good shot at being the closer early on, if not because of his kind of, and not even if he's not necessarily your best reliever, but because he kind of fits that role.
Yeah, I believe he may have thrown a live or either a bullpen or a live in the last 2 or 3 days. It all runs together.
I'm just thinking about the game, actually. I think that's this weekend, right?
We should see him at some point in the next few days, and then he can go forward from there. It was a very minor calf issue, and they were able to keep his arm up even when he was not able to use his lower half. So I don't think this is a big deal for him.
No, it doesn't sound like it. And it's not an arm injury, which, of course, is really the big thing, right? I mean, we definitely don't want more arm problems for him. He's got great stuff, but staying on the field has been a problem. And it was a problem when he was with the Mariners, too. It's part of the reason why he was available as a guy that's right-handed and throws 100.
Yeah, and he's had some health issues with the Cardinals as well. But last year, he was able to put it all together. Just a few, since we're talking about it, just to go through a couple other health things real quickly. Got an update on Lars Nootbaar today. They're still not at the point where he's really progressing to do any type of running. So he's not going
to be on opening day. No, your opening day left fielder now is who?
Either Jose Fermin or Nathan Church, depending on if you're a righty or lefty. I leave open the possibility that Nelson Velasquez goes on a home run tear and fights. But he hasn't done anything.
No, I was going to say it's been pretty quiet so far.
Right now, Velasquez isn't on the roster. I guess there's always a chance that JC moves past Fermin. I don't think that's going to probably happen.
Yeah, they could also kind of alternate, right? Because no matter what, early on, I wouldn't think they're going to pick a left fielder. No. I would imagine that Church will play against most righties if he earns it. I'm actually kind of curious about him. I think he's a guy that I really wonder if he could have, I don't know if I would call it a breakout year, but maybe a year where he shows more of what he's capable of than he did last year.
Yeah, team is super high on him. Team is really, he's one of those, sometimes you're around guys and you just hear nothing but positive things.
Right.
We can't stop hearing positive things about Church. Mason Wynn is dealing with some arm issues right now. He did not participate in the game on 2 days ago, and they hope to get him back into the lineup one of these next 2 days. If it goes on if we don't see him, Kevin, in these next 2 games, I think then we start having a little bit more significant questions about if this is more than something. And we got a question about Cooper Jerpy. Jerpy actually got onto the mound and throw a bullpen in the last week or so, but don't expect to see him in a competitive situation until probably June or July.
Yeah, I say he's got a ways to go, and I would imagine early on could even be more of a reliever. Actually, a lot of people, including me, thought he looked more like a reliever even coming out of college. That he's really funky. He does get swing and miss, even though he doesn't throw 100. So there could be something to that.
We're finally at a point in this organization where they have enough starting pitching depth where they don't have to force pitchers who make more sense as relievers into a starting role.
Right. Yeah. All right. Last one.
Big thing.
Last one for this segment. We'll do some more baseball in the next one, too. How about Chase Davis? Have you noticed anything? Is there any buzz? Has anybody talked about him? I know that he's got power. I'm not somebody that thinks he's going to be an everyday regular player in the major leagues just because of the swing and miss. But he's clearly got the tools.
Yeah, he's looked so much better in spring this year than he's ever looked before. We actually did talk about him with Ali after the game today, and Ali's really happy. He got sent back to minor league camp very early on in spring last year.
Yeah.
He's a first-round pick who honestly at times has looked like he was going to turn into a bust. I'm with you. I think that ceiling has dropped on him a bit, but it looks different very early on in camp. I mean, we're talking about 11 Grapefruit League at bats at this point. Let's not jump over the moon over 11 bats. But my untrained eye says Davis has really progressed in the last year. And that goes along with just the story of the organization
right.
and how guys took steps forward last year because they finally had the tools to help them.
Absolutely. That's Matt Pauley in Jupiter. I'm Kevin Wheeler here in St. Louis. Stick around. We got more Cardinals baseball, actually bigger picture baseball too. Are baseball fans happier because the Dodgers are dominating? Because there's a prominent sports talk guy who put that out there on FS1, and I think he's full of crap. We'll talk a bit about that one coming up after the news.
At 5:30, it's a cloudy sky. Right now, 58 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Voters of Illinois voted for me to be here to provide those checks and balances.
Illinois U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth on the war in Iran and how it's escalating across the Middle East. And yet President Trump has not asked Congress for war powers, and the Senate has rejected a war powers resolution.
Frankly, President Trump promised no more wars, lower costs, and now he's marched us into a war of choice without any congressional oversight, without any plan for an off-ramp.
There are indications that the CIA wants to arm Kurdish fighters and send them into Iran. Duckworth tells CNN that could work in theory. However,
the problem we have is the Trump administration, due to their poor planning, have created a power vacuum in Iran.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney in D.C.'s office are dropping a criminal probe into whether former Democratic President Joe Biden and his aides unlawfully used an auto pen to issue pardons. A person briefed on the matter told CBS News. The matter was closed because prosecutors were never able to find a legal hook to be able to pursue the matter further. Recently, a grand jury also refused to indict 6 Democratic lawmakers over charges they violated the law by urging military service members to reject unlawful orders in a video they released last fall. In that matter, CBS reports not a single grand juror voted in favor of an indictment, which is highly unusual. From Archbishop to chaplain, St. Louis native and retired New York Archbishop Cardinal Timothy Dolan has officially been sworn in as co-chaplain of the NYPD.
Cardinal Dolan says he's greatly looking forward to this new part-time job, although he says he's already been ministering to officers and their families for some 17 years as New York Archbishop.
I've seen your eyes damp while you would line the hospital corridor as I'd go to visit officers wounded. I've hugged and lost a lot of handkerchiefs to grieving spouses and hurting families. And now I get to do it a bit more often in a more formal and official way. And that I cherish deeply. And for that, I thank you.
Cardinal Dolan will serve alongside the Reverend A.R. Bernard. The two will oversee the NYPD chaplains unit and minister to the officers and their families in times of tragedy. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It's a major rebrand. The St. Louis Senior Olympics are now called the St. Louis Legends Games.
Not everybody feels like a senior, but everybody feels like a legend.
Stephanie Ray says Gen X and Boomers don't consider themselves seniors, but many still want to compete.
We as parents and grandparents have been going to games, football games, softball games, whatever it is, for years and years and years. And now it's a chance for us to play and our grandkids and our kids to come.
The games are put on by the Jewish Community Center, but open to all adults 50 and older. Registration is open now. The games begin in May.
Been a soggy day across the St. Louis area. There have been some thunderstorms around, but very limited strong to severe action. We'll see another batch of showers and some thunderstorms around as we go through the overnight tonight. Going to be some dry time, 55 for the low. On Thursday, changeable sky, a mix of clouds and sunshine. There'll be some showers, a couple of thunderstorms, but I think a lot of dry time during the day on Thursday, 71 for the high. Scattered showers and thunderstorms Thursday night, 58. Friday, partly sunny, probably nothing more than a spot thunderstorm or two. A lot of dry time on Friday, though windy and 80 degrees. Friday night, some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Cold front coming in, 57, but it's not really a cold front. Saturday, some leftover showers in the morning, otherwise mostly cloudy. We only go down to 65, so it's not a big blast of cold air. And Sunday, sunny, 65 again. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Cloudy sky, 58. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it. And now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business?
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Have you been thinking about maybe talking to somebody about GLP-1 and you just don't really know where to even start the process? Well, I would strongly suggest to you to talk to the people that I am proudly a client of. That's STL Weight Loss Injections. They've got a great office. In fact, it's brand new. They just moved into a wonderful office. Their staff is incredible. They're going to talk to you. They're going to figure out whether or not you are the right candidate. You might not be the right candidate for it, but if you are, they can start to get you on a plan, and it can really impact your life in a positive way. And there's nothing to be embarrassed on this. Like, some guys don't really want to talk about this. I have no problem talking about it. I work out every day. I don't eat horribly unhealthy food for whatever reason. My body, the way it is, I just have a hard time losing weight, and I'm trying to get a little bit of help, and I'm excited about it, and I'd be excited for you as well. Also, one thing I don't mention, I talk about them almost every day. They use a local compounding pharmacy. Right now, like, it's kind of the wild, wild west when it comes to these GLP-1s, and you don't actually know where the medicine is coming from for a lot of places. With them, they use a local company. It's based in Creve Coeur, using the best stuff. So you don't have to worry about what you're putting into your body, which is awesome. If you want to talk to them, I would really encourage you to do so. Head to their website, stlweightlossinjections.com, stlweightlossinjections.com. And you can also call them 636-244-5333. $199 for the first month. It's STL Weight Loss Injections, stlweightlossinjections.com.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-all-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardy, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, Those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic from the MichaelsFloorandOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our crash from earlier out there. I don't know, half dozen cars, something like that. They're on the right shoulder, but they do still have the right lane blocked. This is the one that was westbound 70 just before the Blanchette Bridge. Traffic backs up just from about Cypress, bumper pockets all the way to that point. Folks are taking 370 as an alternate route. West of the Mills to 141 is kind of slow on 370. Northbound 170 slow. South of Natural Bridge to Airport Road. South 170 Delmar to 64 is busy. Eastbound 64 west of McKnight to Big Bend's heavy. Westbound 64 Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker is backed up, but after that it's clear to Wentzville. South 270 a little slow right around Big Bend. North 270 around 64. Southbound 55 kind of off the base. Gasconade through Bates. And eastbound 64 approaching 157 midway to 159 is slow. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour here on KMOX Wednesday night. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. A little more baseball here. We'll do some Blues in the last segment with the rumors, the reports that Colton Parayko's going to be traded to Buffalo. That has not been made official. It has not been announced. That was basically left at, and I give a tip of the cap to Jeremy Rutherford for pointing out that it seems like the teams have agreed, but they're waiting on the player to approve the deal because he has a no-trade clause. So we'll see. But it sounded like from Darren Drager's reports that it's going to happen, but we're just waiting for the finalization and all that. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. You obviously have seen the Colin Cowherd video. And for those that haven't, we don't need to play it. I'll just sum it up pretty loosely. He is making the case based on polling done by The Athletic. So 14,000 plus of their, this is the same poll we talked about yesterday, just different sets of questions. 14,000 plus subscribers. Well, he's citing this as his evidence that baseball fans as a whole are happier than they were 4 years ago, and it's because the Dodgers are a dynasty. That is the opening premise of his take. So a couple things to understand. He also refers to the, quote, cruddy Cardinals in there. Don't even worry about that. Because Colin Cowherd, when it comes to baseball, is a stupid person. He never talks baseball. He doesn't know anything about baseball. I'm not sure he even watches. Because when I listen to him talk about it, it's clearly at the shallowest of levels. But the premise he's giving, Matt, is flawed in so many ways. I mean, one, because he cites things like the Dodgers have the highest road attendance in baseball. Blah. Yeah, so did the Cleveland Cavaliers in basketball when LeBron was in his prime. It's about stars. It's about people wanting to see Shohei Ohtani.
Right, 100%.
It's
Shohei
not about
is
them,
the reason why.
And it's not about them winning. It's because people like stars. It's also because teams like the Dodgers, Yankees, and Cubs, oh, by the way, all three are 1, 2, and 3 in road attendance because they're huge markets with fans all over the country who move from those huge markets for jobs or school or whatever. Like, it's not complicated, but he takes the dumbest, shallowest take and makes it sound important and makes it sound like he has figured out the magic sauce that makes everything work. And it's also based on a flawed premise here, Matt, that this poll was done scientifically, which it was not. It's 14,000 people that I would put into the very serious / diehard category, right? That's who subscribes to The Athletic. And on top of that, he's not accounting for how it's weighted. Most of the subscribers from The Athletic are probably in the big markets. So if you
because
go ahead.
The Athletic has actually taken writers out of some of the smaller markets and put more focus on the bigger markets. So if your team is not getting covered by The Athletic, you're probably not subscribed to The Athletic.
And even if you are, let's say every market is represented on a percentage basis equally, right? Based on population. The population of subscribers in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, Philly is going to vastly outnumber the mid to smaller markets. So in that sense, I wonder why Dodgers fans might be happier than they were 4 years ago.
They got a couple World Series.
I wonder why Cubs fans might be happier than they were 4 years ago coming off a losing season. I wonder why Mets fans might be happier than they were coming off a losing season 4 years ago. Or the Tigers. That's another big market team that's changed dramatically in the last 4 years. And this dummy doesn't even take any of that into account. He just jumps to his dumbass conclusion, and then other people nod along and go, "Oh, I think he's got a point."
Yeah, I've mostly ignored him on this thing. Like it blew up on social media, and I just didn't touch it because that's what he wants. He wants to say things that people are reacting to, and I barely think it's worth reacting to because he's wrong. It's a dumb take. The vast majority of baseball fans who are not Dodgers fans are frustrated with the current state of baseball, where even though I don't think this is true, the optics make it feel like you don't have a chance compared to the Dodgers. It's not something that baseball fans like right now.
Right. And actually, when I was tweeting about this earlier, Derek Gould made a really good point in replying to my tweet. And the worst part of it is there is evidence in there, if he looked at it correctly, that would be positive for Major League Baseball, right? He just completely misses it. And as an example, I followed up with this, and I was looking at the background on it. Major League Baseball has had every team make the playoffs at least once in the last 10 years. The only other sport that has had every team make the playoffs in that same time frame is the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA hasn't, and the NFL hasn't. If you look at the number of different champions over the last 10, 15, 20 years, Major League Baseball is as good as, if not better than, the other sports in the variation of the number of champions. So the problem isn't the outcomes. The problem is the anticipation, right?
And the optics.
And the optics of it. But as a fan, this is an emotional buy. Sports are an emotional buy, not a rational buy. And if I don't feel like my team has a fair chance, that impacts my behavior.
Right. And that's where when Kyle Tucker's the best free agent sitting out there, but he's going to be the fourth best player on the Dodgers, and they decide they're going to sign him anyways.
Right.
You're just like, what can my team do? What can they do? And that's how fans of teams across all of baseball felt that night. And that's just not a good feeling to be consistently having as a fan.
Yeah, it's not that complicated. I think the sport's in good shape. I really do. And I hope they don't screw it up by being idiots and fighting over this instead of cooperating to make it better. Because there is a real easy solution here. Maybe not easy in the details, but easy conceptually. That you share more revenue. You don't have to have a cap. You don't have to have a floor. But you do need more penalties on the bottom level, at the floor level. And maybe you stiffen the penalties at the top and share more revenue. I mean, I think there are ways to make this work where the Pirates, the Royals, these teams can actually move up the payroll food chain without saying, okay, Dodgers and Yankees, you can no longer spend.
Yeah, we don't need to relitigate this. There has to be something put in place that requires teams to go above and beyond with the revenue sharing money they get.
Or at least, I'm a fan of a reverse luxury tax. It's the same structure. You just do it at the bottom instead of the top, where you're allowed to go under, but only for a certain period of time. And the more you're under, the more you lose.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Same
that.
idea.
I think there's so many owners who are just salivating the idea of more revenue sharing because they get to put it in their back pocket, not because they get
No,
to
you're
spend it
right.
on
There
their team.
has to be something put in there that says this is the expectation, and if you don't meet it, you lose money, you lose draft picks, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, we take a break from baseball for a few minutes. I'm gonna go refresh Twitter and see if we got any news on the reported Colton Parayko trade. We'll talk some Blues next on KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
We still have our one trouble spot with us. They're still working to wrap up this crash westbound 70 before the Blanchette Bridge. The right lane is shut down. It's a solid jam approaching the Rock Road on westbound 70. The ramp lanes coming off 270 are backed up. Northbound, they're backed up at the McKelvey Road overpass. Southbound, they're jammed back through the Rock Road. And westbound Rock Road is backed up west of 70 over to 270. Folks look like they're using that as an alternate route. Northbound 170, 70 up to Airport Road slow. South 170 is busy. The Parkway to 64. Westbound 64, Kings Highway out through Clayton Skinkers slow. Eastbound 64, just heavy approaching 170 to Big Bend. And eastbound 64 on the Illinois side approaching 157 slow midway to 159. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, a few minutes left here in Redbird Rush Hour Sports Open Line. A short Sports Open Line coming up after the news. What do you got, Matt, before we get to Billikens?
We're going to listen into a lot of what Oliver Marmol had to say today,
Nice.
both before and after the game. Got a few different things to get into there. We'll talk a little Blues, and we'll go through the day of we didn't learn anything about the Cardinals.
You know what? We're kind of in that period now, right? It's usually the middle couple weeks. It's kind of like, all right, it's hard to know what matters, and some guys are being sent out, but it's not new. The thought of the stuff's already been talked about, and then the last couple of weeks, it starts to really pick up. So we'll definitely be reaching to that. So still no news, no update on the reported trade between the Blues and the Buffalo Sabres. Darren Drager reported it. Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic is reporting on it here in St. Louis, that Parayko is reportedly headed to Buffalo if he agrees to the deal. And if he does, Matt, sounds like a pretty damn good deal. The return that we know of, according to Darren Drager, would be last year's number 9 overall pick, which is a 6'6", 220-pound defenseman named Radim Murta. Who sounds a lot like an 18-year-old Colton Parayko when you're thinking about it. Although the word I've been reading since is that he's actually more of an offensive player than Parayko was at that age. So keep an eye on that. Plus another first-round pick, and it sounds like there may be more to it too. If that goes through, that's a pretty good deal.
It is, and you would think that as they were moving along with Buffalo, they would at least talk to Parayko
You would think,
to see, hey, if this is going to be a hard no, we'll stop the conversations
Let us
right
know,
now. Yeah. So I think this deal is, I would assume that it's basically done. And I'm at this point, I would almost go forward like it's going to get done. And then if something happens and it ends up not happening, we come back around on it. It
Right.
seems like a done deal.
I mean, he has a no trade, so he is absolutely able to say no. And I'm guessing he's either I don't know. I don't know what he's maybe just thinking about it, talking about it with family. Maybe it's just more going back with Buffalo and seeing if there's any sweeteners or anything like that. Who knows? It doesn't really
Or the
matter.
medicals, because
It doesn't
Braco's
sound
been
like
banged
that,
up.
though. It doesn't sound like that's in the report. It just said it was pending his approval.
All right.
So we'll see, but it's a good idea. And to close out in our last minute, Matt, I would be shocked if this is the last Blues deal this week. I would imagine there's going to be at least one or two more, if not more than that.
I'll use a different word. I would be disappointed if this is the only deal.
Yeah, me too. I'll be honest with you. Me too.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great time to move Justin Falk. Nothing against him. I think he's just got great value right now for a contender.
Yes, move as many guys. This team needs to look vastly different.
Yep.
This is a way to do it. Go trade dudes.
It's not working the way that it is.
Nope.
You need to shake it up, and you're not going to have enough cap space to get out there and sign anybody that's going to shake it up. You got to have to do it with some young guys. And look, Cardinals are doing it. There's no reason why a hockey team can't do it. Makes sense. And they do have a really nice young core of players to try to grow up around. So,
there's not a superstar in that group.
No, that's what you got to get. And that's what those first round picks are for. And by the way, if they end up trading all these guys, we got to go right now. They could pick first. It'll get pretty bad. Have a good show tonight, bud.
Thanks.
All right, Matt Pauley's got Sports Open Line next here on KMOX.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Want consistent color for every job? Milo's Pro Rewards members get a 20% paint discount on future purchases after paint annual qualifying spend reaches $3,000. Plus, order eligible in-stock paint and paint supplies by 2 p.m. for free same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Improving is easy at Lowe's. Excludes spray paint and mist tints. More exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Subject to change. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Same-day delivery valid in select zip codes. Subject to driver availability. Details at Lowe's.com/same-day delivery.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees when used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients. With formulas for men, women, and adults 50 plus, Neovitin helps keep St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Deerbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Start your summer early at the St. Charles Boat Show, March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for more information.
Hi, it's Kevin Wheeler here with Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Welcome back, Gloria. Now, for years now, you've been on KMOX helping families plan their next big move with your Guaranteed Sold program. So for those planning to sell their home this year, what's your best advice?
Thank you. My advice is simple. Do your homework before listing your home. Our market is stabilizing, inventory is tightening and moving fast. In other words, the realtor you choose to sell your home really matters. That's why my sellers love my Guaranteed Sale program. I guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. I have thousands of buyers in my buyers in waiting database, so your home may already been sold before it's ever hit the market. Higher demand, more competition, and more money for your home.
Friends, if you want a realtor who will guarantee results, call the one that I trust. Gloria Lewitt, 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got the shoulder westbound 70 before the Township Bridge. It looks like they've a right lane fine, so traffic is improving. But you're still going to find delays westbound 70 coming out from that Lindbergh Rock Road area, or at least approaching 270. I guess we'll call it west of the Rock Road through our city. It's still pretty heavy. The right lane is north 270, just slow north of McKelvey. Southbound, they're still bogged down at the Rock Road. Eastbound 64, still slow 170 to Big Bend. South 170, just delays at the U Club Tower. Westbound 64, Hampton to about Clayton Skinker's a little busy, but after that, it's wide open running. And on the Illinois side, eastbound 64 still slow, 157 midway to 159. From the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other. Yeah. There's just a huge problem in your life. And then you win the giant jackpot. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. In the war with Iran, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the U.S. is accelerating, not decelerating, its war on Iran with more assets heading to the region. According to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt,
so far, we have destroyed more than 20 Iranian ships, including their top submarine, using a torpedo for the first time since World War II.
President Trump says Iran would have had a nuclear weapon in about 2 weeks if the U.S. had not acted first. Josh Lederman, a fellow at Princeton University Center for International Security Studies, points out,
really, we need to see what the Iranian people are going to do. President Trump called for them to kind of rise up and take over their government. So far, we haven't really seen that happen, certainly in a way that would move towards some type of pro-U.S., pro-Israeli government like the U.S. would certainly like to see.
A war powers resolution vote in the U.S. Senate, which would have limited the president's ability to launch further strikes on Iran, has failed. CBS's Aaron Navarro.
Senator Kaine said that he is expecting to bring this bill up again in the coming weeks in hopes that senators who voted against it may flip their votes as the situation in Iran develops.
House votes on a similar measure tomorrow. In a setback for the Trump administration, a federal judge has ruled that companies that paid tariffs struck down by the Supreme Court are entitled to refunds. Loyola Law School professor Lori Levinson with more.
This judge today said that all the importers of record are entitled to those refunds. And we're talking here about billions of dollars. The court also made it clear that that judge would be the one handling these requests for refunds.
The High Court, in its ruling last month, did not address the reimbursement of refunds. The Virginia Supreme Court allows a referendum on Democrat-led redistricting that could flip 4 U.S. House seats in this year's midterm elections. The court says that the April 21st referendum can go forward while it considers a legal challenge to the redistricting plan. Early voting for the referendum is supposed to begin Friday. Lou Holtz, the College Football Hall of Fame coach who led Notre Dame to a national championship, has died at age 89. More from WSBT TV's Pete Byrne.
Lou Holtz was already a household name when Notre Dame hired him in 1985 to be the 25th head coach in program history. Despite a resume that already included more than 100 wins, it was under the Golden Dome where Holtz became legendary. In 11 seasons, he went 100, 30, and 2. 5 times in his first 8 years, Notre Dame finished inside the top 10, highlighted by the national championship in 1988.
Oil prices rose nearly 2% in early Asian trade on persistent worries about supplies because of the Middle East conflict. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday, scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all. Because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep. Now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 442 unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
At 6:04, it's a cloudy sky right now, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. We've been following a developing story. One person is dead, a second injured after a shooting at the Red Roof Inn on Wilson. That's near the Hill neighborhood by Interstate 44. Let's take you there live. KMOX's Maria Kina. Maria?
Michael, this started this afternoon when U.S. Marshals went in to execute a search warrant for a homicide suspect. It sounds like a standoff then ensued. Eventually, tear gas was used, and they made entry into the motel room. The murder suspect was found deceased. That second man in the room had a graze wound to his head. He was taken to the hospital. Now, Major Boxtruck with the St. Louis Police Department says no law enforcement officers fired a shot. Now the Force Investigative Unit is handling this investigation to determine just how those two men were shot in that room. Live on the Hill, Maria Kina, KMOX News.
The state-appointed St. Louis City Police Board and Mayor are attempting a reset on two major issues.
The Board of Police Commissioners voted to approve new disciplinary procedures and rules without a citizen oversight board. However, Commissioner Sonia Jenkins Gray announced she will work on establishing civilian oversight in some capacity.
Commitment that the board has to move forward in some way with an advisory or an oversight, including the community, including the civilians.
Jenkins Gray's husband, the Reverend Darrell Gray, recently served on the jail's Civilian Oversight Board as its chair. On the topic of the budget, there's a lot of work to be done, and Mayor Kara Spencer stresses time is quickly running out.
The Board of E&A has to consider its budget in the April timeframe, and that has to go through the Board of Aldermen pretty quickly.
The commissioners also said they are committed to more collaboration and transparency with the mayor when constructing their budget. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Melissa Price Smith says they will begin prosecuting businesses which host video lottery terminals as of June 1st. Until then, Price Smith says giving these businesses ample notice to remove the machines is their priority. And she says if a business can't physically get the machine out by then.
If they can't move a 400-pound machine immediately, we suggest that they cover them up, they unplug them. We want them to have the opportunity to get in compliance.
Price Smith says this is their plan unless new laws are enacted at the state level legalizing these kinds of slot machines. The Missouri House is one step closer to putting a major tax overhaul before voters. The Commerce Committee voted 7-3 today along party lines to advance the constitutional amendment eliminating the state income tax. The full House is expected to debate the measure before spring recess on March 12th. Missouri lawmakers are considering a plan to tighten insurance rules for app-based delivery drivers. The Senate bill, sponsored by Marshall Republican Curtis Gregory, would set statewide standards for companies like DoorDash and Walmart Spark to ensure drivers have proper coverage while they're on the app making deliveries.
What I want to end up with is making sure that the people of the state of Missouri have adequate coverage at all times. It's been around before, and we're taking a look at it again.
Jeremy Lefevre, representing DoorDash, says the company opposes the bill in its current form, but wants to work to change the wording so that coverage is required from log on through a short post-delivery window. A Missouri Senate committee could vote soon on this bill. And no matter whether you're headed to the store for yourself or someone else, let's get you to Roger Brand at the Traffic Center.
Well, it's not bad to wrap things up, Michael. We still have the one crash out there, however. It's on the right shoulder. Still some flashing lights westbound 70 just before the Blanchette Bridge, so traffic's bogged down coming off the 270 ramps, westbound 70 through there. And I guess maybe it's some Billikens game traffic. South 170 slow Brentwood to 64 and eastbound 64 heavy from 170 to Big Bend. But other than that, the rest of these interstates are back on the move for you on both sides of the river. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
And the forecast from Dave Murray for tonight, lots of clouds, and we could have some periods of rain and possibly some storms late tonight, low of 55 degrees. That's the overnight low. For tomorrow, we've got a mix of clouds and sun. We'll also have some rain, but there will be a fair share of dry time for Thursday. High temperature of 71, 58 for tomorrow night. And for Friday, Dave Murray says mix of clouds and sun. Could have some spot storms, but it should be a dry day overall. And Friday's high, 80. The record 85 from 1956. Right now, cloudy sky, 57 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Well, we are going to be together for a very short amount of time tonight, only about 45 minutes or so. We get done early because we've got Billikens basketball tonight, wrapping up the home portion of the regular season. It is senior night. They are hosting Loyola Chicago. Bob Ramsey, Earl Austin Jr. will have the call of the game, and coverage begins at 6:45. And we got a few things that we want to get to. Before we get to that, we'll talk a little bit more about this reported Blues trade that seems like it is likely to go down. And then a lot of Cardinals here, as you would expect. I am in Florida. I'm at Cardinals spring training. We always like to bring you as much audio from Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol as we can, just so you continue to get an idea of, I'm down here. The idea is that you get an idea of what we are talking about and some of the decisions and some of the motivations behind decisions that are being made. So we're going to spend a lot of time listening into Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. Not a whole lot to take away from the day today. Matthew Liberatore was fine. He gave up a couple runs to the Nicaraguan national team, but that came in his fourth inning of work. Maybe ran out a little bit of steam there at the end. Richard Fitz looked really good. He's a guy that I continue to be pretty high on. But at the same time, that Nicaraguan lineup was not a lineup that's really going to scare anybody. And you can't judge a Cardinals loss. There's only one guy in the lineup who is for sure going to be an opening day starter for the Cardinals. That was Ivan Herrera, and he went 2 for 2 in the day. Everybody else pretty much. Nathan Church is a maybe for the Cardinals roster, and then everybody else that was in the lineup today is going to start the season in all likelihood in the minor league. So I'm not trying to make too much of something that really there's not much to make of it, and that's the way things went today. So we're actually going to take an early break here because I want to make sure I have enough time. Oliver Marmol talked about a lot of stuff today, and I want to go through all of it because there's some interesting things said about Matthew Liberatore and Richard Fitz and just a few other things to get into. Mason Wynn's health status. So we'll do that in just a moment right here on KMOX.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Design your own custom home in our Parkside, Nature, or Tradition series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Shows Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based on advertisements.
When it comes to lighting, Gray Bar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into gray bar mode. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Considering buying or selling a home? When it comes to the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. Call 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
The Builder's St. Louis Home and Garden Show returns to America Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Come to our amazing outdoor living space.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
A century strong. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Welcome back in. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. The Cardinals, they were matched up today against Team Nicaragua as they get ready for the World Baseball Classic. Cardinals end up losing today by a 2-1 score. Should be noted, the only player in the lineup today who is for sure going to be in the opening day lineup was Ivan Herrera. He went 2 for 2. He got 4 innings in behind the plate. Nathan Church was in the lineup as well. Went 0 for 2, but walked. No guarantee that he's going to be their opening day, but he's probably moving in that direction. And outside of that, it was really all guys who are, in all likelihood, going to be in the minor leagues to begin the season. So not too much to take away from a 2-1 loss to Team Nicaragua. Cardinals did have solid pitching out there today, as we saw among the pitchers who pitched today, Matthew Liberatore, who made the start, JoJo Romero, Ryan Stanek, and also Richard Fitz. This is our time of the show. We're doing this a little early today because we're done early due to SLU Billikens basketball, but we always like to be able to play for you some of what Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol had to say today. And from a very general standpoint, he said that there were some things that they liked from today's game.
I liked Herrera at bats. I thought Libby did a nice job even after an off day, just kind of body wasn't exactly where he wanted it to be as far as firing on all cylinders, but he still did a really nice job of filling up the zone with all pitches. JoJo's shape of his stuff was pretty darn good. Sinker, sweeper moving really well. Stanek did a really nice job. And then I felt like Fitz wasn't as sharp as he wanted to be, but still competed really well and mixed really well. So overall, I thought it was a solid showing for everybody.
Matthew Liberatore made the start. He went 3 1/3 innings, allowing 2 runs on 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks. He gave up a home run, a 2-run shot in the 4th inning, and did not get out of the 4th inning as that pitch count started to move up. Looked especially good in those first 3 innings, and then maybe ran out of a little bit of gas there in the 4th inning. I don't think there's anything to be startled about with Liberatore, as he becomes the first Cardinal starting pitcher to pitch into a 4th inning. And Ali said after the game that, like, at this point in camp, as they go through the evaluation process of somebody like Liberatore, really this applies to every pitcher out there, but they're looking at a lot of things, and some of that stuff that becomes so important later on, like velocity and some other stuff, that's not so much what they're focused on right now.
Some may start to ask about early in camp is like velo, which is kind of not a box we care to check this early on. But the fact that he's inching towards where we need that to be, he's locating his secondary stuff really well. Like a game like today was solid. Yeah, especially knowing that he didn't feel like body was firing the way it normally is. Like, that's a really good outing.
There was a lot of talk about Liberatore today. He is on pace and on track. It hasn't been confirmed yet by the club, but he seems incredibly likely to be the team's opening day starter. He also has really emerged as a leader of this rotation. And Ali said that Liberatore has emerged, as mentioned, as a guy who can lead a pitching staff.
He's done a nice job of, first you have to be able to model it. And that's one thing he's done really well, is be, high level of detail, high level of preparation, head down, just showing what work looks like, and then you're able to speak to it. And I think we're taking a step in that direction for sure.
This time last year, even though Liberatore did end up as a starting pitcher last year, this time last year in spring, there was no guarantee. We were talking about him maybe even more as somebody who was going to end up in the bullpen this year, 100% locked in on being a starting pitcher, and being in that spot really has allowed the work that he has been doing to be even better.
I think when you know that the club is committed to you in that kind of role, then it allows you to just double down on the things that you know you need long term in order to do it well, rather than just like, there's times where you come into camp and there's no way around it. Like it's a showcase. Like you have to show well in order to keep that. I think he built his offseason in a way where there's a really good progression to it, in order to like know that holding his velo over the course of a full season, like everything was built towards like, I'm a starter. His mentality is, I want to say different, but he's just taking steps. Like it's just focused. He's always been focused, but it's like high level of detail, which has been fun to watch.
And then just final thing on Liberatore, as it was a process to get him into the rotation. There were some starts, there were some stops, there were some bumps, there was moments of him being in the bullpen. There were times where he started and it just didn't look great. I mean, it has been a journey for him, but where he's at right now, Ali said it was worth the wait.
We've had to be patient, and we've both sides, right? Like I think there was patience on our end, but there was also like he hit the gas in a lot of different areas on his end that make this easy, right? So credit to him and the attention to detail during the offseason and everything he's done just to come in as focused as he is. It's pretty impressive.
Richard Fitz through the final 3 innings of this game does not give up a run, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks. And as you watch him, he is somebody who always seems like he has a plan against hitters, something that Ali would agree with.
That's why I mentioned the mix earlier. I thought he did a good job when you look at the usage on even the fastball sinker. I think he mixed in 10 sinkers. So it's hard to just sit on one when you have 2 fastballs doing different things, and mixed his other stuff well enough to keep you off balance. But overall, yeah.
Now, like on a day like today, not taking anything away from the Nicaraguan national team that they were matched up against, maybe that was not the level of hitter that you're going to see at other times. So in situations like this, and just generally speaking in spring where you can't control the competition, what kind of things are they looking for with Fitz?
Consistency, like in a combination of like approach and shape to his stuff, that it's consistent. Therefore, he can use it appropriately when it's consistent.
Now with Dustin May going into the Grapefruit League rotation tomorrow, and really with 6 guys competing for a starting spot, there's a lack of innings, or at least a lack of ability to have every single guy who's in the battle get starts. So like today, Richard Fitz, he came in to throw the final 3 innings. It was a piggyback situation. He still get his innings, but he doesn't per se start the game. And I asked Ali, is it okay if that's the work that somebody like Fitz gets? Is it okay if you actually are not starting games, but you're still getting those innings in a piggyback role?
I can argue both sides of that. If he's in a piggyback, and as long as he's getting ramped up and getting the innings, I think it's fine. And it still allows him to show us what he's capable of doing. So I'm not extremely concerned as to like him starting it or coming in after somebody at the moment, in order for us to still evaluate whether he can start with us.
We saw Von Herrera play behind the plate for a second time this spring, and for him, it was a 4-inning outing after he went 3 innings the last time. We're not really seeing, he's just not getting, there's not a lot of guys running against him. It's and you'll hear from Ali in a second, kind of hard to evaluate in spring. But there were a couple things they worked on with Herrera. They did a lot of work from a curriculum standpoint on calling games in that side of it, and then also reprogramming the throwing motion and trying to get that in place. And Ali is believing that the work that Herrera put in the offseason is going to be impactful.
A couple things come to mind here. There's 2 things that we were working on with Herrera. One of them was repatterning the throwing and making sure that we had more carry, and missed the way he wants to miss as far as his throws to second on the right side of the bag. And the second part was the curriculum to have a better understanding of game calling and feel more prepared when the games start. We stated this early on in camp and even in the offseason that just using spring training as an evaluation for that is probably not ideal. You can take steps in the right direction, but determining whether he did it well or not, just using spring is not the play. So when you look at what that entails, it's him understanding just count sensitive situations, understanding his pitcher's strengths, weaknesses, what to go to, when to go to it, why we're going to it. But for him to feel armed with everything needed in order to relax and just be able to kind of call a game and not feel like he's second guessing himself or in between, it allows him to be more definitive in why he's doing something. We do feel like his understanding of that as we've gone through that curriculum has been better.
Mentioned that the lineup really didn't have a lot of major leaguers in it today for the Cardinals. A lot of those guys were on the backfields as they took a bunch of their hitters, and what they did was they identified some deficiencies and swings, and they worked very, very hard. It was a very intensive work session today with some of those guys on the backfields trying to work on some very specific things. So how did they choose the hitters that they were going to go back to the backfields and do that work with?
It was more of a matter of guys that have something that they're actually wanting to nail down in an environment where they can just repeat it and not have to wait several innings to get at bats. So treating today as a good work day for those guys, and then we'll get them in the game tomorrow.
One player who we haven't seen in a few days is Mason Wynn. He's been dealing with a little bit of arm soreness. Now, this is different than what he had at the end of the season last year because that was lower body, that was knee. But he does deal with some arm soreness, and they've slowed things down with him. We should see him, I would think, at some point in the next couple of days. If we don't see him play over the next 2 days, then I think it starts to become more of a question if the soreness is maybe more worrisome than it's being made out to be. But really, for where we're at in spring and the type of work they're doing, feeling a little bit of arm soreness here is actually a pretty normal thing.
Yeah, you see it. I mean, other guys have felt it as well, and used yesterday as a really good day for it. But you see guys, regardless of what their throw programs were, the load just gets them a little bit at this point of camp. But it's something that I think we'll work through and be just fine.
Speaking of guys who are a little bit banged up, somebody who we have not yet seen is Lars Nootbaar. And there are some baseball activities going on, but it doesn't seem like he's overly close to actually getting into game action. Ali did give us a little bit of an update on where Nootbaar is.
He's just making progress in his overall program, doing some plyos, jumps, things that'll give him strength and overall stability when we start his running progression. But we're still in that part of the program right now.
So with Nootbaar not available, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do in the outfield. And one of those guys who's likely to get a fair amount of time, especially because he's a right-handed bat, is Jose Fermin.
The ability to be out there and for us to be comfortable with it in the outfield, I mean, that versatility just really does add a lot of value to our roster. So his ability to do that is going to be important. There's some things he's working on mechanically with Brownie that I think could help. So our hope is that starts to come into play, but this is a guy that makes a lot of contact. We have a pretty good understanding of who he is and what he's capable of. It's just being able to increase that versatility and overall value.
A couple outfitters who probably won't be breaking camp with the team, but have done some nice things here during spring training. A former first-round pick in Chase Davis, who at times has seemed like maybe he's going to be a bust. We've seen some good moments from him, and Ali is happy to be able to continue to get some looks at him here in Major League Camp.
Just be able to see him at this level more than anything. I mean, he was sent out early last camp, so it's been good to actually lay eyes on him. He's made progress in the way he's gone about his game down below. So mainly just being able to allow our staff to lay eyes on him is the main thing.
And then Joshua Baez, he went 2 for 3 today. He had one of the more memorable moments of camp earlier when he had an at-bat and he challenged 2 pitches in the at-bat to keep the at-bat alive. He won each challenge, and instead of striking out, he kept the at-bat alive, and then eventually he was able to draw a walk. That, again, that's one of the most memorable things that's happened so far here in spring. It was a really, really fun moment, and Ali does say that they have seen growth from Baez as spring has moved along.
It looks like it's starting to slow down for him a little bit. Which is good. I love the at-bat he took the other day, more so because of what it allows him to do moving forward from that. I think it was like a big part in the game. He challenges twice, is able to like have a moment, which he can draw from that confidence and just kind of drop his shoulders and start to play a little now. So that's what I've noticed the most.
Final thing from Oliver Marmol. He says that this week, it's a weird week. Yesterday was an off day. Today was a WBC game where you're not playing a lot of regulars. And now they're going to go across the state to match up against the Pirates and Orioles, where you don't take everybody. Some guys will go in for both games. Some guys will go in for just one game. Some guys won't go at all. So even with all this stuff kind of being different this week, Ali says it's easy to be able to get the work in.
You just have the off day, but there's plenty of at-bats today. About 6 guys will be on the backfields. We have lives going on. Either taking at bats. Vic is going to use that time for live at bats to work on bunting, different situations for him there. So that'll be a good use of time. A lot of real detailed skill work taking place on the backfields. And then obviously that bats during the game will take, half the group with us to get at bats in game 1 on the road. And then the other group will meet us for game 2. So we'll flip flop there and then continue on regular rotation.
That is Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. As that's him speaking earlier today. Heard a little bit from his pregame and also a little bit from his postgame availability. We'll take a break, come back, and wrap things up in front of SLU Billikens basketball tonight. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Meta may be adding a smartwatch to its device offerings. The information reports that the Facebook and Instagram parent is developing a watch that's codenamed Malibu 2 and will include a built-in Meta AI assistant and have health tracking features. Meta previously shelved its smartwatch plans 5 years ago, but is now expected to take on Apple with its new device later this year. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to LendSeek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. LendSeek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. LendSeek.com. LendSeek.com.
Okay, class, let's begin.
Psst, love your boots. I just sold a pair like that on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took like 2 seconds to list and they sold almost immediately. I've been selling everything lately. Some chunky boots, a faux fur coat I never wore, and a vintage chair that was more of an expensive clothing rack.
You know, I actually bought these on eBay. Wait, are you Kitty Sell Stuff from Brooklyn?
Okay, quiet, please.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay, things people love.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. You know, the doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online, youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Here's reason 17. In today's new world, many law firms have had money injected into their firms by Wall Street, private equity, and other lenders. This money usually comes in at very, very high interest rates. It's one of the reasons you see so many lawyers advertising. I'm John Morgan. This money is expensive and the interest compounds quickly. These law firms can have a huge need for cash just to pay that debt. Why does it matter to you? My fear is your case is settled early and for far less than it's worth, just to service the loan that has mafia-like rates. Our financial strength is your advantage. That plus our reputation makes our firm your firm. Visit forthepeople.com to see our results and verdicts. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
It's men's Billikens basketball action tonight as they take to the court against Loyola. Pregame 6:45, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball, KMOX.
Starting to call tonight on this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX. We are done early tonight because the SLU Billikens, they are in action and they are going to play host to Loyola Chicago. That game taking place at Shea Fitz Arena. 7 o'clock is the scheduled tip-off time. That means our coverage with Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. set to begin in just a few minutes at 6:45. So, again, we're going to get out of here a little bit early. An opportunity, a big opportunity for the Billikens because they've got a chance to finish out the season having not lost a single home game. They are 18-0 at home going into this game, and that's special. That is the. Have there been a couple losses here over the last few weeks? Like that happens in college basketball, but anytime you've got a chance to accomplish something that is pretty hard to do, it's go do it. And I hope that they can win tonight and then finish out the perfect home regular season, looking for a 19-0 home record. That is rather remarkable. We'll see what they can do tonight. They'll play George Mason on the road on Saturday. And then after that, they will get set for the league tournament. And we're excited to see what they're going to do as they try to make a run for the NCAA tournament. Also want to mention the NHL trade deadline. I know we've mentioned this a bit here. NHL trade deadline is going to be coming up on Friday. We've expected the Blues to be active. I think we all sort of wondered just how active might they be. Well, Colton Parayko getting moved reportedly today, and it seems like a pretty good move. Now, yeah, I'm not trying to like talk out of both sides of my mouth. I made the joke yesterday. We had Amy Markscores on for our weekly Blues conversation yesterday, and I made the joke like how much you're going to go get some first round picks in some of these moves potentially, but that gets you, if they're not high level first round picks, if they're not top 5 picks, top 10 picks, you're continuing to kind of bring in more players into the organization that are really nice players, really good players, but not franchise altering type players. And it is my belief that that's what is holding this organization back right now, that they don't have high level star players. And whether they go trade for them, whether they go sign them, or whether they draft and develop them, that's the next thing for this organization. You got to have a guy who can carry you when you need to be carried. And they don't have that right now, and I'd love for them to have that. And generally speaking, you're not getting that guy with a mid to late first-round pick. That doesn't mean that first-round picks don't help you. They do. They very much do. I guess just from a bigger picture standpoint, I really want them to find a way to bring in a very, very high-level player. That being said, there's nothing wrong with the return that they are getting from Buffalo. In fact, if I was a Buffalo fan, I don't know if I would love this because Buffalo has been terrible for a long time, and they finally were able to build back to being a pretty good team this year, and now you're giving away assets that are very similar to some of the assets that got you back to being respectable. So again, I don't need to speak for a Sabres fan here, and I don't know everything from a Sabres perspective, so maybe I'm speaking out of turn here when I say it. But this does seem like a pretty good move for the Blues. Radim Mertka, he is a young defenseman and somebody that you can probably be pretty excited about, and really has a lot of the same skill sets as Colton Parayko, maybe a little bit better from an offensive standpoint. 6'6", 218 pounds. He's a right shot. He has played in the AHL and the WHL this season, and then it sounds like there's going to be a first-round pick as well. So I think the Blues did well on what they're getting back for Colton Parayko, and now the next question is going to be how many more guys can they move? Because they got to change the core. They've got to change the core, and there are very few players on this team that I would be overly upset about them moving, depending on what kind of return that they're going to get. But it's going to be interesting next couple days or so. Trade deadline is going to be coming up on Friday, and you would assume that the Blues are going to have some more things to do before all is said and done. All right, that's going to do it for the program. Again, we are going to get you to Billikens basketball, SLU and Loyola Chicago. It is senior night, and what a great chance to honor this group of players that has been part of revitalizing Billikens basketball and once again turning them into a team that has a national profile. It is great that on senior night, SLU is ranked going into tonight's game. Again, be tuned in. Bob Ramsey, Earl Austin Jr., they've got the call pregame in just a few minutes at 6:45, and then 7 o'clock tip from Chaffetz Arena. And I say this every single time, and I'm going to keep saying it, and next year I'll say it, and I'll say it as long as Josh Schertz is the coach of the Billikens. I will continue to say, whether you listen to the game, which we hope you do, or maybe you do leave us to go watch the game on TV. Maybe you can turn the TV down and the radio up, do that whole thing. No matter how you take in the game, maybe you're going to the game, whatever it is, get back in the car quickly, get back to the radio quickly, be tuned into the postgame show, because must listen to radio is when Josh Schertz comes out and does his postgame conversation with Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. It's tough to find better radio and better conversation than that. You know how our on Gas House Gang, our Tuesday conversations with Oliver Marmol were like must listen to radio? I would make the argument that there was very few things, if anything, on St. Louis radio that was more compelling than that 30 minutes of Oliver Marmol every week. Well, in many ways, what we hear from Coach Schertz in the postgame with Rammer and Earl, just as compelling. It's a chance to learn about the game. It's a chance to get some really candid thoughts on what happened. So strongly encourage you to be tuned in for the post game, no matter what. You should be tuned in for the whole game, but man, I love that post game stuff with that Coach Schertz. That is it for the program today. Thanks for being tuned in. Tomorrow it'll be the countdown to opening day show from here in Florida for Cardinals spring training, and then we'll be back with you coming up on Friday, coming out of the NHL trade deadline. We'll have a lot to talk about coming up on Friday night. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. SLU Billikens basketball on the way next here on KMOX.